Welcome to In the Know. We're joined now by Sister Claire Key, Mission Coordinator for Catholic Charities of the Diocese of Peoria. She's here to tell us about their upcoming community event, a day of food, fellowship, and support for the local community. Sister Claire, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about the Cookout.
Yes, the Catholic Charities first ever cookout, community cookout. It's inviting the whole community to come for fellowship, food, and fun. And we are proudly sponsored by the Knights of Columbus around the Peoria area. So we're inviting the whole community to and individuals in the community to come and have fun with us.
For sure. And now, from what I understand, this is the first year you guys are having this event?
Yes.
Gotcha. So what was the inspiration behind having this event? Why did you guys want to have it?
Yes, this year is a year of hope in our Catholic Church, and also the 150 years anniversary of our diocese, and we wanted to invite the community to build community. This cookout is not just a meal; it's inviting everyone to come and sit with us and have this meal together. For sure.
So it's a community-driven effort.
Yes.
You guys are wanting to extend a helping hand maybe to those in need, kind of welcome them all in.
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for that. So tell me a little bit more about the Catholic Charities and what they do for the community.
Yes, the Catholic Charities serve 26 counties around the diocese and all around Peoria. Peoria, we have the food pantry, soup kitchen, baby pantry. We have the school backpack program. We have the Christmas program, the senior program. We also have the mobile van that goes around 11 or 12 stops around the diocese a month. So.
For sure. Now going back to the event that you guys have coming up, the Cookout, is it just going to be food, or are there other things being planned for it?
Yes, so we do have 13 vendors coming.
Okay.
There will be a lot of resources for the community for assistance, healthcare or insurance, Medicare. They're going to be there. So please come hungry, and we leave hopeful, and because that's what the Catholic Church is all about.
That's right, and it's happening Thursday, July 3rd, this Thursday at 10 o'clock. It is free, happening at 615 Northeast Jefferson. Awesome. So tell me, I know this time of, a lot of people are going through a lot of people are struggling in this season. So tell me how Catholic Charities tries to meet the need of those in the community.
We meet their needs through the soup kitchen that we open Monday to Thursday, food pantry on Fridays, and also the baby pantry that we offer Monday to Friday, and a lot of other resources that are available.
For sure. How can people help?
They can help by visiting us our website, cdob.org/Catholic Charities. By financial, you can help us financially to reach our means, and also anything that will help us extend our help to our community.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you, Sister Claire.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. All right. If you know someone who would like to join us on In the Know, you can go to our website, 25newsnow.com/community, follow the features tab to the In the Know, and submit the form.